Hey now everybody, what is happening? Back again with another book review for you. This being Avengers Volume 12, Court Martial, which came out earlier this month, May the 6th or 7th, depending on, what is it? They seem to come out the day before, like on a Tuesday, I guess, in Barnes and Nobles and other stores, and then Wednesday, when new comic books come out, this comes out. So depends, the 6th or the 7th, wherever you get your books, that's when they're released. So this was released earlier this month, volume 12. Covering issues 210 to 226 of the Avengers, annual 11 of Avengers, which was also featured in volume 7 of the Defenders, because the Defenders have co-starring appearance in it. And also, what do we have? We have also, and the limited series of Vision and the Scarlet Witch, number 1 to 4, which I think was probably my most favorite out of everything. Well, yeah, I'd say that. I'll just start with Vision and the Scarlet Witch. You got a 4-issue limited series written by Bill Mantlo and artwork by, who was it? Bill Mantlo and Rick Leonardi, yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me. Rick Leonardi did the pencils, not the... It was Rick Leonardi and somebody else. Remember, penciler and inker makes artist, just so you know. There's not one or the other that is the artist. It's a team. Anyway, but the penciler gets, I guess, more of the credit, and that's Rick Leonardi. Bill Mantlo doing the writing. Bill Mantlo also did the first issue of the volume, so he also did 210. J.M. DeMatteis, I think, also did, he did the annual 11, and I think issue 219, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, so Vision and the Scarlet Witch has them on their own. They actually left the Avengers in issue 211, along with the Beast and Wonder Man, which I will get to in a second. And now they're living in Leonia, New Jersey, in the suburbs as a happily married couple. They don't have their kids yet. But in the 4 issues, they deal with the Halloween deity known as Samhain, the druidic deity known as Samhain. Not Samhain, by the way. It's spelled like Sam Hain, but it's pronounced Samhain. I thought it was going to be about the Darkhold book, but it was just some book that Captain America gave them, and Samhain appears, and he turns these 3 little trick-or-treat. It takes place during Halloween, and he turns these trick-or-treaters into monsters, like a goblin, a ghost, and a jack-o'-lantern. So then Vision and Scarlet Witch have to stop the children and stop Samhain, and they do, of course. Then issue 2, they all follow each other like right after, even though all 4 stories have nothing to do with each other. Then issue 2 has to do with Robert Frank, the wizard, who was supposedly their father, but then it turns out he wasn't. So then he comes asking them, right at the end of issue 1, by the way, after they get done with Samhain, they answer the door, and there's Robert Frank, who was the wizard during World War II in the All-Winter Squad. And so he wants his son Nucleo, the nuclear man, in his custody. He's in the hospital, and that wasn't that good. It was meh. You know, they just fight this dude named Isbiza, who apparently was the reason Nucleo became what he was, and was also an enemy of Robert Frank. Didn't really care for that one. Issue 3 had the Grim Reaper. Vision got injured in issue 2, so then in issue 3, his arm is like completely melted off, and then he's got to like shoot it off with his laser and then cauterize it. But he's in a coma. So then they get Wonder Man to help him snap out of it. Meanwhile, the Grim Reaper, who is Simon Williams' brother, Eric, interferes. It was kind of sad because this one was about brothers, and I was actually touched by it because I have brothers of my own that I don't really get along with. And Eric, Grim Reaper, even though he's a villain, really loves his brother Simon, and he holds Vision responsible as well as Wonder Man, who is Simon Williams, but he doesn't believe he's really the real Simon because he died and then came back, So there's just a lot of that. The villain has more layers and more sides to him than what we're normally shown. So I like that issue. And then issue 4, from siblings, we have more patriarchal, fathers and children, where finally, and issue 4 is actually a pretty big one because this is where Magneto discovers that Wanda and Pietro, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, obviously, are his children. And he actually literally just flies his ass to Adelon, to the blue area of the moon, as the White Pilgrim, and says, "Hey kids, Daddy's home, but let's fight, let's spar a little bit." And then, and they do. But then, of course, it was sweet though, because Crystal's like, stop. She has little baby Luna in her arms, and she's a little baby at this point. And Magneto tells him about Magda, about himself, and Wanda's like, "Oh, okay. But where do we go? Where do we go from here?" And Pietro's like, he's very tentative. He's like, okay. He's like, Wanda's like, "But look, Pietro, that makes sense because you two look alike. You and Magneto look alike." And Magneto's like, "Yeah, and you look just like your mother, Magda." It's good. There's Bova too. Bova, the cow woman, the midwife. She makes an appearance at the beginning. So I really liked it. It was very touching. The whole thread, with the exception of with the exception of 1 and 2, was really about family. 3 and 4 dealt with family. 1 and 2, had their own thing. But I liked it. I enjoyed this limited series. And of course, there would be another limited series with Vision and the Scarlet Witch, a 12-issue maxi series that would come out, I think, later on in 83 or 84. And so, which brings us to the Avengers itself, 210 to 226. I won't recap all the issues, but I will say some major highlights, some moments include membership shakeups and change-ups, issue 211 and issue 221. So within 10 issues, we get members coming and going. 211, we see the exit of Wonder Man, the Beast, Scarlet Witch, and the Vision. And they decide on bringing in Tigra, the Werewoman, and Yellow Jacket, Hank Pym, back into the fold. And then within an issue, they fight the Elf Queen, Linnea, the Elf Queen, in issue 212. And Hank, Yellow Jacket, shoots her. And then by next issue, 213, he shoots her and attacks her, and then he's brought up on charges for court-martial and expulsion from the Avengers. Within like an issue or two, he just got into the group, and now they're already ready to expel him because he fucked up. Like, damn, really? Like, can a brother get a second chance? No, apparently not. Especially when it's Captain America who's presiding over this. So then Iron Man, Wasp, and Thor and Captain America are like the only original members. Hank, of course, is an original member when he was Ant-Man, but he's on trial. And then there's Tigra, who is like, who gives a shit? And it's funny too, because even Tigra asks herself, why the fuck am I on this team? Why the fuck did I join? Like, why? And she eventually leaves in the two-part 215, 216. They fight the Molecule Man, and she even realizes, I'm a fucking scaredy cat, literally. I don't belong on this team. See ya. So now Tigra's gone in issue 216. Hank is court-martialed and expelled from the Avengers. But before, I'm jumping ahead. But before he's expelled, he concocts this idea to create a robot named Salvation 1, to attack the Avengers, and then he will jump in and save them. Of course, it goes horribly awry, horribly wrong. He can't get anything right, and he fucks up. Hank fucks up, and then he's officially expelled as a member. But the soap opera continues. It's like fucking an episode of As the World Turns or The Young and the Restless. There's a domestic abuse angle, not really a storyline, but an angle there where in 213, he Hank bitch slaps Janet, which in a way, I know this sounds horrible. I do not believe in the abuse of women or men at all in a domestic abuse situation. Just get out of it if you can. I fucking hate Janet, guys. I've hated her since like the beginning. And if you ever read Stanley's issues and how he treats Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, it's fucking garbage. I fucking hate Stanley's writing, and I fucking hate the Wasp. All right, I got that off my chest. So in a way, she kind of deserved it, but not really. I'm not an advocate of abuse at all. But this is the impetus where, or impetus, I think that was, that she becomes a stronger person. She also elects herself as chairperson, not chairwoman. Captain America, it's funny, Captain America is the chairman. Then she's like, you know what? How about we elect me as a chairperson, as the first woman? So then Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man are like, okay, cool. Okay, whatever. But so now she's the chairperson of the Avengers. So she leads the group, even though she doesn't know how to lead like Captain America does. There's a lot happening here. There's abuse, there's domestic violence, there's stupidity on Hank's part. He's court-martialed. He's eventually put in jail because Egghead suckers him into giving Trish, his niece, a prosthetic arm, which causes her to go mental. And Hank is like, no, but I didn't mean to do this. This was an accident. And, then he's put in jail. So he's effectively off the team. So now we're down to 4 members. We have the Wasp, Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. Egghead is around. Egghead decides to start a new Masters of Evil in issue 22. Oh, actually, in 221, they decide to bring back Hawkeye to the team. And She-Hulk, this is where She-Hulk joins the team in issue 221, which was kind of stupid because Wasp holds a tea party at her place for Spider-Woman, the Dazzler, Invisible Girl, before Woman, she was Invisible Girl, She-Hulk, and who else? Somebody else. But they all gather. It doesn't make sense. Who the fuck would want Dazzler on their team? As an Avenger? Really? Maybe Spider-Woman. That makes sense. She-Hulk, of course. Invisible Girl's with the Fantastic Four, so why would she leave her family to join the Avengers? Which she does eventually with her husband. Later on, like the 80s. Around Inferno, Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman join the Avengers for some unknown reason. That's right, because they quit being superheroes and then they decide, we like being superheroes, so we'll join the Avengers rather than rejoin the Fantastic Four. Anyway, I digress. But then in the end, everybody quits. Oh, and Black Widow, that was the other one. And Black Widow also comes to the tea party. And Wasp is her obnoxious self. And then everybody's like, yeah, I don't really want to join. Goodbye. But She-Hulk sticks around. So she joins by default. Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Captain America are into the idea of Hawkeye joining or rejoining the Avengers, even though he's head of security at Cross Technological Enterprises, CTE, which is a rival of Stark International. So we got 6 members back. Egghead concocts a new Masters of Evil, which includes Whirlwind, Scorpion, Moonstone, and Tiger Shark. There's a nice issue with 223 where Hawkeye and Ant-Man, Scott Lang Ant-Man, team up against the Taskmaster. They go to the circus. That was also featured in Hawkeye Volume 1. Yeah, that was a good one. They take on Taskmaster at the circus. So, what else? Then 224. 224 has the Wasp in an affair with Iron Man, with Tony Stark. Also, fun fact, 216, issue 216 is where Thor reveals to everybody except Wasp, because she left. Janet left the team temporarily to deal with Hank's issues, or her issues with Hank. Everybody realizes that Iron Man is Tony Stark, Don Blake is Thor, except Wasp. So at this point, 224, Wasp still doesn't know that Tony and Iron Man are the same person, but he eventually reveals, hey, I'm Iron Man. And she's like, what? Oh my God, we can't date anymore. How could you do this to Hank? Captain America even is like, dude, how can you do this to your bro? to Hank, who's rotting in jail, and you're fucking hooking up with his wife, his woman, fucking pig. And Tony's like, "Oh well." It really is how he's like. He's like, "Yeah," but then eventually he's like, "Okay, this fucking sucks." So by the end of issue 224, they're done. 225 and 226 is a two-parter. They bring back Black Knight. Black Knight in the end, Dane Whitman returns from the 12th century. He's in the 12th century on Avalon, and they fight these dudes called Fomor. I didn't care. Only good thing was that Black Knight returns to 20th century, and he's over at Garrett Castle, which is in England, and he'll eventually become a member of the Avengers at some point. Around, I think, like 85 or 86, during the siege by the Masters of Evil. And that's pretty much it. What was 218 and 19? I forgot. I should show you guys some oops, my bookmark fell. Let me put on my glasses here. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the annual 11 had the Avengers and the Defenders take on Nebulon and his wife Supernalia. That was an okay story. Yeah, I already read that in Defenders Volume 7. I mean, no biggie. Nice artwork of Silver Surfer. What was this one? Oh, the Molecule Man. Oops, I'm out of shot. Here we go. Yeah. Oh yeah, 215. That was they take Silver Surfer teams up with the Avengers to take on the Molecule Man. The Molecule Man returns. Actually, I gotta also say, Jim Shooter takes over the writing from like 211 all the way through to 224. And wow, I thought Stan Lee was verbose. No, Jim Shooter like talks. He uses every language in the English dictionary, but at least everything made sense. I'll give Jim Shooter that. At least everything made sense, whereas when Stan Lee writes something, it's full of shit. But man, I gotta show you guys the dialogue this dude just pours into each page. I mean, it literally took me 45 minutes to read one issue. I counted it too. Like I would start at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I'd be done like 1:44. Like today. Yeah. But the artwork is really good. You got Bob Hall, you have Greg LaRocque. What else do we have? Bob Hall, Greg LaRocque, Rick Leonardi. We have like a ton of people here. Jim Shooter and Bill Mantlo did the writing. J.M. DeMatteis, Stephen Grant. Yeah, he joins on towards the end there. 224, 5, and 6. David Michelinie does a couple issues here and there. Alan Zelenitz, who was actually the producer. I think he was one of the producers on Back to the Future, believe it or not. But he was also a comic book writer. And Bob Hall also did some stuff. There was like a difference between co-scripting and co-writing, or co-plotting and co-scripting, because Jim Shooter could only do one thing at a time, and so we got like David Michelinie to do the other, or Bob Hall or Stephen Grant, because he was also the editor-in-chief, so he couldn't do everything and write at the same time. But for whatever reason, the dude stayed on this book way too long, and we pay the price for it. But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this volume, as always, covering 1981 to 83, if you count the Scarlet Witch Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries or limited series. But the issues themselves here in Avengers go from 81 to 82. Yeah, there's Thor drinking some mead. Jarvis hangs out. Spider-Man's on the cover of Time magazine. Pop culture references abound. Oh yeah, 217 features the debut of Fabian Stankovic. And you guys are probably wondering, who the fuck is that? By 1991, after they lost Hydrobase, the Avengers, during Acts of Vengeance, they got this group of techs to come join them. Peggy Carter, Michael O'Brien, John Jameson, and Fabian Stankovic. But in issue 217, and also during in issue 221, when they were figuring out who's going to be the next teammates of the Avengers, this kid Fabian created the Meccano Marauder to attack the Avengers, and of course it was just disastrous. He was just a big nerd, and then he eventually becomes part of the technological crew of the Avengers, which I thought was kind of sweet. Yeah, he's like this dumb, awkward kid, and he builds this stupid machine that gets killed. This was, yeah, during the Tea Party. He tries to attack Wasp and her friends, and they're all being girls here, you know. But I love this era, 80s. Yeah, they eventually pick She-Hulk, or at least Wasp chooses She-Hulk, while Captain America and Iron Man choose Hawkeye. And for some reason, Thor wanted Spider-Man to join the team. Spider-Man even said, "Yeah, I'll think about it, and I'll get back to you." They never got back to him. Spider-Man never got back to them. They never asked, "Hey, Spider-Man, you want to join?" Like, nothing. Just gone in the ether. That's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, the new Masters of Evil, Tiger Shark, nice little fight outside the mansion. Yeah, for whatever reason, Whirlwind has the hots for Wasp and kind of gets a little rapey with her. Yeah, see, he grabs her right there, as if she didn't have enough on her plate. I mean, she's like, she gets bitch slapped by her husband. Now she's about to get raped by the supervillain, Dave Cannon. Ugh, and always her fashion. Ugh. Anyway, can't stand her. All right, guys, that's it. That's volume 12 of Avengers Court Martial. So I'm now going to be jumping right back. I just pulled it right off the bookshelf right here. I'm jumping right back into Iron Man volume 10. Volume 7 will come out in early June, but I'm not waiting around for that because I could be done with like 4 or 5 epics waiting by then. So that's going to wait. But we do not have 8 or 9, which is the David Michelinie, Bob Layton run, which is where Tony gets, he becomes an alcoholic. So we're going to skip right to volume 10, which covers 1981 to 1982 to 1983. And it covers 158 to 177. I'm all over the place, guys. I just read 7 issues, the last 7 issues of volume 12 for the last 4 hours, guys. So my brain's a little fried. 158 to 177 of Iron Man and volume 5. Oh, no, excuse me. Jesus Christ. Annual 5, guys. Annual 5 of Iron Man. Annual 5 and 158 to 177. Okay? Got it? Good. All right, guys. This is the next book. The Enemy Within. Oh, by the way, this is the very first epic, guys. The very first epic ever published or produced. This right here. And by the way, this is the first print that I have, which I don't think they've even released a second print. So this is it, guys. The very first epic that ever was released back in 2013. This is the first one, guys. And then Thor volume 16 is the second one. This is it, guys. The very first epic. And I'm going to read it next. All right, guys. I gotta chill. I need a drink of water. I need to sleep, something. All right. Bye, guys. Take care. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Like and subscribe, comment, or don't, whatever you guys decide. But as always, I read these epics. Actually, hold on. We're talking about this one. That's the next one. But this is the one I was talking about just now. I read these epics, guys, so you don't have to. But as always, I encourage you to read them. Read this one, too. I highly recommend it. Classic 80s Avengers. Even though it's written by Jim Shooter, you're in for some surprises. It's really good. Poor Hank Pym. Poor Janet, even though she's an idiot. Poor everybody. And I love this. This is issue 223, by the way. This is when they fight Taskmaster in the circus. And this is issue 217, when do or die moment for this guy, Yellow Jacket. All right, guys. Take care. Good speaking with you. Good speaking with you guys. Happy Memorial Day. Bye-bye.